Hey everyone, welcome back to Day 2 MTG with yours truly, Andrew, Day 2 Dryden. If you want to go from a Lava Timmy to a Lava Spike, this is the place to be. Make sure to like, share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Subscribing really helps the channel, and it's, if you enjoy the content, hey, it helps you, it helps me, it's awesome. So let's get into today's deck tech. Oh, sorry, but first, I did forget this in the last video for the deck tech, so I want to make sure I get it in here in the first video. New patron has joined Patreon on helping support the channel. If you're interested in doing something similar, descriptions and links are below in the video, or in the description below the video. There we go. So a big thank you to I believe it's Louis Denise, I believe is how it's pronounced. I'm not quite sure. My apologies if I got that wrong, but thanks. I'm pretty confident on Louis being the pronunciation of the first part, so thank you very much to Louis. So yeah, today is going to be a little bit of fun. I'm interested because I'm trying two new cards I have literally never played with before. So I think they're going to be some pretty good additions to the deck. So we'll get to those because they're in the sideboard right away. Outside of that, the main deck hasn't changed. I still think 20 lands is the way to go because of the access to Sunbaked Canyons. When we didn't have Sunbaked Canyons, I thought 19 was better, but truthfully being able to curve out consistently on those early turns and make sure that you do get that aggressive start that the deck wants is very important. So sort of where that can bottleneck is your access to lands. So I still think 20 is right. When you're only doing the red-white version, there's a lot of play to it. You can probably get away with fewer fetch lands. Like there's 8 fetch lands I'm running here. But if you want to have access to enough sources of white mana, you need probably at least 13 or 14 to have it consistently throughout the game. And we've got way more than that. We've got the 8 fetch lands, the 2 Sacred Foundries, so that's 10 right there, plus the 3 Inspiring Vantage, plus the 4 Sunbaked Canyons. So we have like 17 sources of white mana. So it's like we could actually run double white spells very, very comfortably if we had to. The only double white spell it's seeing play right now is Core Firewalker, and I am not a believer in that card myself, though it is very powerful, and if you watched the video last week, you saw me get wrecked by it. Okay, so that's the mana base. You know what? Actually, you know what? Here. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to add another Inspiring Vantage to the deck. I think that might actually be helpful. There's enough burn decks and things running around that, you know what, that might be a good change. Because again, we still have access to white mana, and we only have 3 copies of Searing Blaze, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But yeah. One other thing here right now that I'm about to do, I'm about to take this Wooded Foothills out of the deck so that the Skewer the Critics down here can pop up and you can see the deck more clearly. But I am going to add this Wooded Foothills back in before I start the league. Okay. 1-drops haven't changed. We like Goblin Guides, Lava Spikes, Bullets, and Swift Spears. These are our fast, low to the ground, aggressively costed effects, right? We can't really change these with the way the deck is built. I like 4 Skullcracks in the main deck. Life gain is... Incidences of life gain that you do want to be able to fight through are everywhere right now, and even in main decks. So while it would be nice to just throw this into the sideboard and worry about it afterwards, the fact of the matter is there are main deck life gain things going on. Most notably is Stoneforge Mystic right now. Hopefully I've learned my lesson the last couple leagues and I'm able to play around it effectively and not punt any games away. But yeah, generally I like Skullcrack, and even still, it's still a very playable effect. Eidolon, possibly the most or least powerful 2-drop in our deck, depending on whether we're on the play and what we're playing against. But because of that really high ceiling, we definitely want to keep it in the deck, really punishing to any sort of decks that don't just get us dead with one big blow or try to spin their wheels at all. Specifically against things like Control and stuff. Very good against that. Searing Blaze, there are still creatures. Modern is a creature format. So even though this isn't as great as it was when, elves and devoted druid decks and things were running around everywhere, it's still very powerful, and it's pretty unlikely for you to find a deck that won't give you a target. The only real bad ones would be things like maybe Ad Nauseam or something. That's the first one that comes to my mind anyway, where you won't get a target for this. So we still want 3 copies of that. Boros Charm, fantastic. 4 mana, 4 damage, 2 mana, instant speed, a lot of other text on it, but that's how we mostly use it. Again, I mentioned a lot of aggressive decks, specifically other burn decks in the format right now. So Lightning Helix is very good at those racing situations, deal damage to the opponent, which is good, while also adding to our life total, which helps us race those aggressive decks. And then rounding out the deck, these are some flex slots. I am not a huge lover of Skewer the Critics. It's generally a pretty good top deck to finish off the game, but it can be awkward in the early turns. And I mean, Riftbolt, it helps smooth out the curve. That's really the big thing about Riftbolt. The fact that you can get it out of your hand for 1 mana, that's really the biggest thing this card has going for it. You know, it can help make your clunky hands a little bit less clunky, even though they might be a bit slower, because this will take a turn to actually, come off the stack and be able to hit your opponent. That's the only thing that really makes this as good as it is, smoothing out those awkward hands. So that's the main deck, and then let's just add the Foothills in right now here quickly. Just add that. Add one to deck. And then the fun stuff over in the sideboard. So we have our Path to Exiles. We still need access to ways to deal with core Firewalkers, big things like Primeval Titans, Reality Smashers, Thought-Knot Seers, Grizzlebrands, I don't know, anything else that I can't really think of off the top of my head. We need access to that. Here's the big new addition, though, something I'm excited about, Hushbringer. So people have been playing a card called Tocatli Honor Guard, I believe is the pronunciation, for a while. It's a similar card, same cost, but it's a 1/3. It doesn't have flying or lifelink, and it doesn't stop creatures dying triggers happening. So that's sort of what this thing's all about. We're not playing it for its mana cost. We're not playing it for the flying or the lifelink, and we're not playing it for the 1/2 body. Although all of those things are, they can work really well, right? But the real reason we're playing this is creatures entering the battlefield or dying doesn't cause abilities to trigger. So, Thought-Knot Seer coming into play. They don't get to look at our hand. I think we still get to draw a card when it leaves, though. I'll have to double check the wording on Thought-Knot Seer. Primeval Titan coming into play. You don't get to search for lands. Oh, right, the big ones. Champion of the Parish. Thalia's Lieutenant. Reflector Mage, right? None of those do anything when they Master Waves. None of these things do anything when they enter the battlefield. When this is also out, it goes shh. Didn't say the magic word. Jurassic Park, if anyone's old enough to remember that reference. So I'm interested in trying this out. Oh, sorry, and the one other big deck right now that this is for, the Urza, Grixis, or actually it's running like 4 colors now. But yeah, the Urza, Thopter Foundry combo deck. This will also shut that down big time. In addition to that, Dredge, Graveyard Synergies. This is still Modern. This is still, what happens in Modern. So we have a couple copies of Rest in Peace. I like those. Shattering Spree and Smash Smithereens to deal with artifacts. Again, those Urza decks. Shattering Spree I've got 1 copy of because Eldrazi-Tron is still a thing. So Shattering Spree is able to get through Chalice of the Void. If anyone's not familiar with it, if you have a Chalice of the Void on 1, the first copy of Shattering Spree will get countered, but the replicated copies don't trigger the Chalice of the Void. So that's how you're able to get this thing through a Chalice and destroy it. We'll come back to this. We'll finish off with this spicy number over here. Deflecting Palm, there are still big threats. Infect, Primeval Titans, right? Titan Shift, or not, more Amulet Titan, I guess, right? There are big threats that still want to smash us in the face. Anything like that, I'm going to Deflecting Palm it. No. Hit me? No. Hit you. And then I wasn't sure how to round out this sideboard yet. There's a lot of flux going on in Modern right now. There's been a lot of change lately, so a lot of the decks that are coming up on the metagame results I think there's still maybe a little bit of residual Hogak stuff that's taking part in that. So I'm not sure exactly how to round out the sideboard. There's a lot of play to it, but what I ended up doing was going with a copy of Engineered Explosives. It's a really versatile option. Even with just this 2-color mana base, we can put this on 0, 1, or 2. It's really good against humans. I have it right now in against Burn if I see a core Firewalker, because it's one of the few ways I can deal with it. There's a lot of other, I mean, any token strategies, things like that it could deal with, right? It's a really versatile card, I'll give it that. And in a big wide open format like Modern, I really like versatility in my sideboards. Last but not least, Leyline of Combustion. Again, a card I wasn't sure about what to put in this slot. If anyone didn't run this card, I wouldn't call them an idiot or anything. There's a lot of play. You could be running things like Molten Rains, Searing Bloods. There's a ton of playable cards right now. But I really wanted to try this out, specifically because I didn't have a card against other burn decks that I really liked. But this is also good against things like Jund. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, I think I'll need to double check, but I think this is also really good against Titan Shift, because I believe this triggers every time a Valakut would target you, or one of your, is it permanents? Or one of your permanents with a Valakut trigger. So yeah, sure, okay, I'll take a bunch of 3s, but you're going to take a bunch of 2s first. So that's kind of some idea around that. So I think it's kind of neat. Hopefully we get to see some play out of it, but if it's anything like the last couple leagues I've done, I'll design the deck in one way for certain decks, and I won't face any of them, and then I'll switch it to another way, and then I'll face all the decks that I should have faced in the that I would have wanted to face in the first league. Either way, so those are some of the decks I was thinking about when I built this sideboard. Burn's still one of the top decks. If you're playing Burn right now, again, I would highly recommend subscribing to the channel. If you're just playing at your local game store, if you're only able to get in, like one night a week, I would watch these videos, see what's going on, see what you're up against, see what kind of sometimes what lines of play to avoid, as I have shown some people. But overall, yeah, I think this deck's a lot of fun right now, and it's well positioned. There are some times when it's poorly positioned, and man, it's like banging your head against a wall. But right now, this is Burn is a lot of fun, so I highly recommend it if you're also thinking about getting into Modern. Either way, this has been Andrew, Day 2 Dryden, talking about Modern Boros Burn in, what is this, October 2019. If you have any questions about the deck, make sure to put them in the comments section below. Otherwise, I will see you in round 1. Man, I know it's just my bias showing, but it feels like I'm never on the play. This hand would just steamroll most decks on the play. I think it's still very, very strong on the draw, however. 3 creatures, a Searing Blaze. This is going to be great. I don't want to draw another land, but 3 is okay. Hitting 1, 2, 3 on turns 1, 2, and 3 is always good. We start off with the Goblin Guide because it gets in more damage early, gives us information about our opponent, and with just a Flooded Strand, okay, I was going to say Path to Exile is about the only thing that's really going to... oh, and we're going to see one. Okay, cool. Yes, I would like to use Path to Exile's ability. So we're going to ramp out pretty big here. Awesome. Well, that means, okay, I'd really like to draw like a Lava Spike or something next turn to be able to play that as well as these creatures. That's going to be great. That'll do. That's not the worst. Let's get this out. Maybe that was a mistake. Actually, that was a mistake. I should have got the Bloodstained Mire and then just fetched for a... Actually, that was also a mistake. I should have played the Goblin Guide first. I'm talking too fast and I'm not paying attention. Ugh. That's frustrating. I mean, the Swift Spear is going to do probably a similar amount of damage, but it would have done more damage this turn, which is a big deal. I'm not paying close enough attention here. This is poor. And then I just get proven wrong, right? Like, this would have dealt them 1 more damage last turn. I will say this. Path into Mana Leak, into Oust on the play. This is exactly what the control opponent wants. Cheap interaction with us. It's getting tough out there for burn decks. second from the top. Okay, sure. Well, it does mean that I can crack the Sunbait Canyon and draw the Swift Spear. It does mean that. So you have dealt with the Swift Spear for one turn. I'm just rethinking quickly if I want to actually crack this Sunbait Canyon with a Boros Charm and a Lightning Helix in my hand. Yeah, no, I do. I want to get that Swift Spear back. All right, so we're in pretty good shape here. I don't think I need to worry about too much here. That's a good draw. So we could see something like a Snapcaster Mage or something, but I'm just going to hold up mana. I'm just going to hold up burn spells and wait for them to have to tap out and do something. They want to counter this, that's fine. I'm going to untap, and yeah, that's fine. I wasn't really going to be able to play around a Spell Snare very easily anyway. With so many 2-drops in my hand, I kind of wanted to... Like, again, I wanted to be able to play... How do I put it? I wanted to be able to hold up spells so that when the shields go down, I can just, like, unload a bunch of spells. The problem is with only 2-drops in my hand, it was getting a little clunky, so I wanted to sort of help things out a little bit. I'm tempted to hold this Inspiring Vantage for the Searing Blaze, but again, with these 2-drops in my hand, I want to get my lands out, and I'm thinking they're going to tap out for this Teferi here, but maybe not. That's fine. Okay, so we're just going to chip in, going to hold on to cards. Oh wait, maybe they hold on. Maybe they don't have this Teferi. Sorry, did I reveal that and then they fetched? This is a tough zone to keep proper track of. Okay, attack by Goblin Guide, reveal Teferi, and then Flooded Strand. Okay, so actually, sorry, they don't have this Teferi. I know nothing about what's in their hand. Sorry about that. I know nothing. Nothing. What is this? Cryptic? Cryptic bounce draw? Sure. I could be getting sucked into a timely reinforcements here or something, but like... They have another Spell Snare that was just... Oh my god, seriously? Spell Snare is such a beating. Okay, so there was like no way I was playing around that anyway. So that's fine. There was no way that like the Skull Cracks or the... any of those other things were getting through that anyway. What is this? Each player draws a card, then discards a card. Okay. I need my Arclight Phoenixes back. That's a good draw. I'm going to counter my Swift Spear? I doubt it. So they could go Colonnade here, actually, couldn't they? Costs 5. They could turn on this Colonnade. And I could kill it. I'd be willing to kill a Colonnade here, I think. Force them to tap out? Yeah, that's fine. Sure. I think this is a good trade. You're using your whole turn to deal with this. That's fine. And I get this Searing Blaze out of my hand on a landfall turn. If you have another Spell Snare, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, if this works, it removes the colonnade. Come on! Okay. They put a card on the bottom. It removes the colonnade and still deals damage to their life total. So... Come on! What did they have to, what did they exile? Exiles Mana Leak. Yeah, sure, that happens. Okay, well, they're down to no cards in hand. At least there's that. They have... I mean, they're going to get to draw this Gyreach Sanitarium, I guess, but... Oh my god. Are you going to just attack me with the Colonnade? Like, that's fine. I will win this race. Force of Negation is like... Path into Mana Leak, into Oust, into Spell Snare. Another Spell Snare. It's tough. That's a good draw. It's a good draw. I could have even waited a turn with that, actually, but... Sure. I have enough mana up right now. I'm not hurting for mana. I'm willing to get rid of a Lava Spike. Here, what are they discarding? They discarded Delta. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm ahead here. They just... It's interesting they play the Plains. Maybe they have another land in hand. But yeah, like, this lets me filter as well. Like, I get access to some pretty good cards, too. I don't know what this... Snapcaster? Sure. Target what? Mana Leak? Oh, Cryptic. I mean... Sure. I like that they're having to use their really expensive interaction on this. So, like, that's nice. And they're empty-handed again. What I was worried about was them, you know, holding up a Snapcaster for, like, Spell Snare on these Skull Cracks or something, right? Then they can, like, I don't know. If they play main deck Timely Reinforcements, they go, like, Timely Reinforcements. I go Skull Crack. They go Snapcaster, Spell Snare. That would be annoying. Yeah, sure. Counters. It's frustrating that they're at... I wish they were at 9, but what are you going to do? Yeah, I'm just gonna do this and keep holding up. They're nowhere near killing me here. Sure. That being said, I have been beaten down by a Snapcaster for like 8 turns in a row before. I have lost games like that. Okay, this isn't the one that like annoys me as much, right? Yeah, that one's okay. So now they're starting to... Now this thing can become a problem, though. It makes it a lot easier for them to interact with us. So I would really like to draw like a bolt or something here, just to be able to close this game out. That would make life a lot easier. That's not what I wanted. That's really not what I wanted. Now they get to untap with a Teferi. They get way more card selection. We're like Really, oh man, I just realized actually too that one damage from the Goblin Guide earlier, mis-sequencing my plays, is coming back to haunt me in a big way. Big way. Because if, yeah, I would have been able to win a couple turns in a row here if they were one life lower. So that mistake on like turn 2 or whatever is seriously coming back to cost me. Wow. Well, I like this in a way. I mean, they get to untap with stuff, so like this isn't super risky for them, but I do like that they're putting so many resources into trying to close this game out. I do appreciate that. And since, I mean, the last time I was trying to avoid like drawing a Searing Blaze and not having a target for it, but obviously that's not the case here. I guess I would like to gain life if I can. Give another Cryptic. Yep. My mistake on turn 2 is seriously costing me. And again, the problem here is that they get to draw so many cards and they get to untap, right? Like I'm just not able to close this game out. So if I spend these 2 Skullcracks right now to put them down to 1, I mean, fine, but then I just draw 1 more card and then they just have to counter 1 spell, right? Like this way I'm at least sort of able, like if I draw a Boros Charm, for example, then 2 spells equal lethal for them. Whereas, you know, I need to resolve all 3 spells otherwise. I'm just saying this is really tough right now. And it's my own fault. Narset. Sure. This is tough. Makes it pretty easy for them to find a counter spell. And yeah, like I said, other than a Boros Charm, I pretty much am going to need 3 spells here. They don't attack with the Colonnade. Or tick down the Narset. Is this supposed to be a combo with Gaia Reach Sanitarium? That's not bad, except you can't do it on your turn. You have to do it on my turn. I guess that's fine. Yeah, right? So this is how you do this. Oh, and it actually even forces me to... well, I mean, this is sort of fine in a way. Like, if I just draw an instant speed spell and you don't have a way to counter it, I guess that works for me. I don't know. This feels like extra tricky. Right? Like if I just draw Bolt here, and that's fine. See, I didn't want this anyway. So, I don't know. That feels kind of tricky. Overly tricky on their part. But again, now they get to untap. They can basically look at 5 cards here. They get to pick one here, and then they just have to not take 1 more point of damage. It's really frustrating. But I'm not just dead yet. That's a neat combo. Narset with the Gaia Reach Sanitarium. I haven't seen that before. That's neat. But I mean, yeah, they got 5 cards in hand and a ton of untapped mana, so I don't think this game's getting there. It's sure. Well, oh no! Okay, well, that wasn't how I wanted to lose the game, but pretty sure they had a counter spell anyway. So, yeah. So I think that's a really good example of showing why sequencing is so important in Burn. It's a really good example, I think, of showing why sequencing is so important in Burn. If I just sequenced turn 2 a little bit better, that game would have been over 5 turns ago, and I would have won. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I didn't see anything that made me think Stoneforge Mystic was in there, like anything. So I'm not really sure what I want here. I could throw in a couple of paths for anything big that they usually bring in. Like I am even okay pathing a the land that I was just playing against, a Celestial Colonnade. I'm okay pathing a Celestial Colonnade if it in the right instance. Or sometimes they bring in things like Baneslayer Angel and other stuff that try to take over the game. Other than that, like if they're not bringing in Core Fire, or if they're not bringing in Batterskull and stuff, that I don't really want these artifact spells. And it didn't look like that's what they were doing. It looked like this is just blue-white control of some sort. Here, this doesn't do anything with counter spells, right? I mean, it answers Path really well. Would answer something like Teferi pretty well. I don't think there's much else I want in here. And what's not great, I don't love all 3 Searing Blades. I'll keep 2. And I don't really love Lightning Helix. It's not amazing. Yeah, I think that's all I really want to do here. I could bring in like Rest in Peace and stuff, but like honestly, I think I just poorly sequenced the first couple turns, and our opponent had a great first few turns. Path into Mana Leak into whatever. I don't love there's 4 lands, but I do love a Goblin Guide on the play, so I'm gonna keep this. And one of these lands draws into something else, so it's fine. Yeah, I this hand isn't amazing, but it's definitely strong enough to reasonably beat a control hand. Yeah. Okay. It's frustrating when I mean, on the bright side, at least I know what my mistakes are, but it is really frustrating to throw games away. It's not really a good recipe for success. Okay, I would really like you to not have a turn 1 Path to Exile again. That would be nice. I guess, well, my turn 2, your turn 1. Okay, cool. I was going to say, you got to fetch, right? Okay, yeah. I was like, you don't want to draw 2 Narsets, I don't think. Hey, Day 2 viewers. One quick thing I wanted to jump in here for. I'm recording this now later on in the day. I've come back, and this is now what I've got on the screen, a replay of what was going on during the game you're watching. Some people have actually sent me a couple messages recently about playing against Control, and I want to show, I thought this was a good example of how small little mistakes with sequencing or lines of play can make big problems later on in a game. So there's 2 main things that you want to focus on when you're playing against Control. You want to do at least one of 2 things. You want to either be using all your mana, or you want to be waiting until the coast is clear to launch your spells at them. You know, when they have to tap out for a Teferi or tap out for a Jace the Mind Sculpt or something, right? That's when you're going to go, oh, you're tapped out. Okay, bolt, bolt, untap, bolt, bolt, things like that. The problem with the current turn that you're watching right now, and that I've got on the screen for you here, is that I didn't do either of those 2 things. I correctly played a land, attacked in, just held up mana or held up spells. My opponent then cracked their Flooded Strand. I've got a full and clear path to just throw a Boros Charm at them. It's absolutely what the right line here is and what I should have done. Not only because A, it uses all my mana, and B, I waited until it was, the coast is clear to get it in. But it's also on turn 1, which means they can't even go, so I'm tapped out. They can't go to their turn, drop a 3rd land and do something like Timely Reinforcements or some of the cards I might want to try to play around. So as you'll see in the future turns here as well, because of this sort of misstep, being able to put them all the way down to 11 by the end of my second turn with a Goblin Guide in play, it really ends up making things kind of awkward. The game kind of slows down, and I end up with some sort of clunky cards in my hand, and I can't quite seem to find a good opportunity to push through. In my opinion, I don't know if the game would play differently. I don't know if the result of this game would go differently one way or the other, but I will say that with them at 11 and me not having this Boros Charm in my hand right now, it would put me in a much better position because, again, using mana, waiting for the coast is clear kind of opportunity. So rather than just put a comment in the comment section below and maybe pin it to the top, I thought it'd be better to take a moment, do a little bit of an instructional video, because it's a really perfect example of how just some bad sequencing, it's really just a lost opportunity, right? This is a free and clear path to just get in instant speed 4 damage. Would have ended up dealing 9 damage over the course of my first 2 turns. That's fantastic. They don't have much time left at that rate, right? Anyway, I'll let you get back to the video, but this turn in particular was a really great example of just forgetting the important parts about playing against control and how little mistakes, even just one turn, can make a huge difference in a game of Modern, especially with Burn. So, like I said, let you get back to the video. It's been Andrew, day 2 Dryden, and hope you enjoy the rest of the match. 3 drops that don't affect the board do not sound, and then like kill the first one you play, doesn't sound like a good place for you to be. Trying to think about the land I want to play. This hand's a little clunky, so I might want to be able to cast, 2 mana spells next turn, or just crack the canyon immediately. So I think I'm just gonna. Well, here, I'm gonna attack first, and then we'll see what happens. But I'm probably gonna play out the Arid Mesa spell snare. That's good to know about. Exile black or red permanent. Well, can't do anything about that. Play that. Actually, you know what? With that spell snare, 3 mana. You know what? No. Tough part here is I wanted to Boros Charm them there, but if they just untap and play timely reinforcements, that's pretty tough. It's pretty tough for me. So try to play around timely a little bit here. That's pretty good. Sure. Which one of us is going to tap out first? I only have 13 damage in my hand right now, so I kind of need them to tap out and to draw a little bit of help here, I think. Put a card on top, play an island. That's a good draw. That is a good draw. That's a good draw for them. Come on. Yeah. His hand got a little clunky. Would have really liked an Eidolon or something, maybe. You know what? I could have drawn a card last turn, actually, off the Sunbaked Canyon. That's something I probably should have done. Sure. Targeting opt. Sure. I'm going to get a spell out of my hand. This is just getting a little bit too clunky. I don't really care about the life gain. So I'm going to let them counter this one if they want. Like, I'm not worried about gaining life in this matchup. I'm worried about their life total going down. And again, I can't really play around that. It's not like a mana leak or something like that costs 4, like a cryptic command. So that's tough. Oh yeah, what do they do with the opts? They put a card on the bottom. Narset. Sure. Sure. We're going to draw a card here. Yeah, we're going to draw a card. Because I can't draw it on my turn, right? So we're going to do it now. Okay, well, those are some pretty bad draws. Just going to point that out. Expect all. Oh, okay. I expect that to get countered, but see what happens. All right. Well, that's going to be fun to have to fight through. Jace. Yeah, Jace happens. I'm gonna brainstorm, huh? I really want to draw off the Sunbaked Canyon because again, I can't do it on my turn, so I guess I'll let this resolve. It's a long, grindy game here. Play a Plains. It's a good draw. Yeah, I guess I'm okay just drawing a card. Not ideal. Not ideal. Let's attack. They have a force negation, which is frustrating. Well, they probably do. I doubt they would have got rid of it with Jace. I don't really care about this Narset anymore. Let's attack them. If they want to block, that's fine. I can Skullcrack them and I get the prowess trigger regardless, so I'm not losing my Swift Spear. And they didn't counter it either. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Alright, interesting. This game is going strangely. Maybe they're just hoping to untap and take the game over somehow. I'm not sure what they're going to do with how they're going to do that just yet, but sure. I don't know what that was supposed to do. Did they want the fixing for some reason? Oh, and maybe, oh, it was a way to maybe just, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. A way to shuffle away with Jace. Yeah. This path needs a target for me to feel good about it. Like, I haven't seen a single card that makes me actually happy about this path. I haven't seen a anything that would make me happy about it. Like, maybe they're just not running any big threats. Like, ugh, that's frustrating. That's frustrating, but sure, okay. Again, I can't use this Sunbait Canyon right now because of this Narset. It's a little frustrating. But yeah, I haven't seen timely reinforcements. I haven't seen Baneslayer Angel. I haven't seen like any of these things, so I don't know. Maybe I'll take the paths out. I'm not really sure. Again, throwing away that first game because of a poor sequence turn is still starting to really eat away at me, just because. Yeah. Played a land. Okay, interesting. Alright. Well, let's draw a card. Don't be a mountain. Come. Actually, I guess a land is, yeah, it's still just as bad. Okay, well, we're getting there. They probably know how many. I'm going to assume they know roughly how many basics are in a deck, so I'm not going to play this Foothills. But I need them to sort of tap out for a turn, and then I can try to go for a win here. But I need a few more cards, I think. And they're just drawing so many cards here. Like, their hand just has to be full of good stuff, but like I haven't lost this game. Aside from Force Negation, my spells still cost less than theirs generally. Another Narset. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I never really were on a path. Okay, so my creatures are in trouble. I think I can wait one more turn. I think next turn I suspend the Rift Bolt, and then the turn after that I maybe try to go for it. But we'll see. Hopefully they've got just like removal and stuff. Like, right, this path does nothing right now. How have I not seen an Eidolon in any of these games either? Like, that's a bit frustrating. Another path. That's fine. That is a dead card. Sorry, I was looking at the play a colonnade pass. Yeah, sure. Just don't draw me a land. Anything else, please. Anything else. And they discarded a. They just they discarded these. Okay, well. Well, good timing then, because our buddy Goblin Guide's going to come in and hopefully get a couple damage in. But we'll see what happens. Snapcaster. Okay, I didn't want you to have that in your hand now. Come on! It's ridiculous. Actually, I shouldn't have even done that. Whatever. How do I fight through all this? How do I do this? Really needed that 2 damage from the Goblin Guide. Okay, well, we gotta do something here pretty soon, so I'll suspend this. This is such a grindy game. Like, our opponent knows what they're doing. They're not just tapping out. But, yeah, this Jace is just getting them so much value. Okay, that's fine. I have a Wooded Foothills in my hand. I can discard that. This one is the problem. Ugh, this is the Teferi that sucks to deal with. Oh, no. Okay, so that Rift Bolt's in trouble. That Rift Bolt basically has no way... to resolve. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. Okay, so the Rift Bolt's dead. I can't deal with this Teferi. The Rift Bolt is just dead. I have to try and Skullcrack now, I think. Because otherwise they can play this and then they can just, if they have like a timely reinforcements or something, they just get to use it. Because they know I can't counter it. So, yeah, okay, sure, Spell Snare or whatever. Like, I don't think I can fight through. They have too many cards, and with this Teferi, I don't know if I can fight through all this. But we'll see. Well, they didn't just lay down a timely, so I guess that's good news. That means they don't have it. But, yeah, I mean, this isn't... Ugh. Control's such a good matchup. Oh, come on! Control's such a good matchup. Is it? Is it, though? I can't do anything. I can't do anything. If I just kill this Teferi, I'm not going to be able to kill them. And I can't do anything here. I need to just rip bolts off the top of my deck for like 3 turns in a row here. And they need to not be able to counter them, even though I know they've got a Force Negation. Maybe 2 in their hand. Yeah, it's... yeah. I don't think there's any way to... I don't think there's... unless their hand... like, their hand can't be bad. They've seen too many cards. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you know what? That was a reason to maybe keep that in my hand. I can't suspend it, so I guess I'm casting it for 3. Ugh. This is not where I want to be in this game. This is not... yeah, sure. Like, this is not where I wanted this to be. I don't know how I possibly come back from this with them at 8 life. How have I not seen like an Eidolon or anything either? Like an Eidolon on turn 2 would have been amazing. Ugh. I was going to say, what are you playing at this point? Is this the one that, like, you exile things? Or no, that's the big one. Oh, this one, yeah, it just has the bounce, whatever. Alright. I don't know what sorceries you really need to be casting, but sure. Yep. Yep. Okay, well, you know what? I don't think there's any way I'm beating all this, so this is the turn where we go for it. But they have a force negation in hand. I know they have to have at least one, probably two. But I can't cast things on their turn. Alright, this... Okay, let's play this out. Let's play the best of the bad situation. And we'll see how this goes. Because I keep talking about this, but this way we can just watch it happen, and I can go on to the next round. Like, this is just not... this is just not a thing. I mean, I don't know, maybe I could have gotten rid of these planeswalkers earlier, but I don't know, it didn't seem to me like that was... Didn't seem to me like that made any sense. Wow, they just went to 2. Just take it. All right. Like, they know. They're like, that's fine. I mean, you know what? I could have something like... Oh, no, sorry. They know. They've locked me out of the game now. Right. Okay, so here, I was going to say, I could have something like Exquisite Firecraft. But with Narset and this Gyreach Sanitarian, they've locked me out of the game. Sorry, and Teferi. These 3 pieces. Okay, there it is there. All right, okay. We're just going to... So they did have a reason for bringing it in. Our opponent played smart. I never... in Game 2, in Game 1, it's my own fault. In Game 2, I never had a chance to really get in there. So our opponent played smart. They drew well, and they... yeah, it was great. So good on them. Either way, this is why I hate Control. This is why I hate playing against Control. This is why... I generally like playing decks that are supposed to be good against Control. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to lower the curve of the deck somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's just a little bit too high, too clunky. I don't know. Either way, it's been Andrew. Day 2 Dryden. I am not going to talk too long because it's already been a longer video than I want. So, I'm just going to go to the next round. Hopefully, I'll see you there. Hopefully, you enjoyed the match. Hopefully, you can see why sometimes people are like, oh, Control is such a good... I mean, we should have had a Game 3 if I hadn't buggered up Game 1. But I mean, like, look at all the cheap interaction they know they need to pack nowadays, right? Like, they come prepared. They know what Modern is. Yeah, they've got a few 4-mana spells and 3-mana spells in here and some stuff that, you know, doesn't really do anything. But now they've got free force negations and a bunch of 1- and 2-mana removal spells. Like, it's... Anyway. It's not as clear-cut as it once was, I don't think. So, anyway, that's my take on the match. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll see you later. And, yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day.